Hello, everybody. It's Feltbuzz here. I thought I'd do an author reading of my part that I wrote for the Exquisite Corpse. It's the first one of 2019. Many of you will have known about this before because Block Curator's been running it for some time. He's passed it over to Garden Gnome Pubs, which he's associated with. They're running it now, and he's written the first part. Fromage wrote the second part, and you can click on the link that I will provide somewhere in this post to read both those parts before you listen to me reading this, or you can just listen to me reading it. It's up to you. Just a brief summary then. Our heroes witness something odd, transformation of beauty into something else, something ugly, weird, and disturbing. When things start exploding, he runs. People seem to know who he is, but he isn't so sure. He witnesses a woman kill an old-time cop. Sheer threat. He's having a bad day and decides there's only one way to escape. The discussion. Part 3. The credits began to roll, and I felt the jerk of the jack as it was pulled from the socket in my skull. The too familiar searing white light pierced my brain. I lay still, rapid blinking my only movement, waiting for the bright light to fade, replaced gradually by a multitude of shadows that slowly became defined shapes with colours. You all right? Blake stood to one side, the wire that had been planted in my head dangling from his hand. I blinked again. His facial expression was odd. He looked concerned. What do you care? I snapped, trying to sit up, immediately regretting it. Firstly, because my head felt as though I had been shot with 20 nail guns pointing from every fucking direction. And secondly, because I was still strapped to the dream bench. You dreamers. Blake turned away in what I assumed was disgust. So rude. You don't usually give a shit, Blake. Why now? He turned back, and to my horror, I read pity on his face. You're losing it, he said. Suicide? Again? We talked about that, man. There's an audience for suicides. You know that. I know that. He released the straps, and I shivered as they slithered back over my body, feeling like 100,000 crawling insects. It pays well if you know what you're doing, but you've built up a following. They like traditional heroes. Flawed characters, sure, but they want them to win in the end. He walked over to the screen at the back, pressed his thumb to it. Or at least, not end up looking like vomit splattered on the fucking sidewalk. He turned to look at me. Could have done anything, man. You know what I'd have done? I didn't care, but I knew he'd tell me. I'd have fucked that broad who shot that cop. That would have gotten you some upvotes. I sat up, holding my head. The skin around the socket was tingling. Never used to do that. A lot of things weren't like they used to be. I dream what I dream, Blake. He peered at the screen. Well, you better dream better. You're losing the high payers. If things continue like this, you'll barely cover the cost of the broadcast. I felt the tingle in my brain. Notification of payment by Dream Vision. 9.2010 Steam. You're shitting me. Blake shrugged and smiled. I told you, you're losing followers. You need to get some help, or you lose your spot. There are better dreamers than you, we both know that. The only thing that's kept you on the payroll is the following you have. If you lose any more of the big upvoters, we'll replace you. He shook his head, and I saw that look of pity again. Sorry, man. It's just business. He pointed at the door. Come on, get the fuck out. I've got the next dreamer waiting in the waiting room. With difficulty, I shuffled out of Dream Room 3 and into recovery. There was no one else in it. That was something, I supposed. I couldn't deal with meeting another dreamer, especially a newbie, always full of excitement, promise, and youth. Fuckers. I poured myself a large glass of water from the dispenser, ignoring the notification of the debit of 0.0001 steam, leaving a balance of 12.4432 steam. Blake was right. I was losing it. I was struggling. My brain meld was failing. It was old, second hand, maybe third when I bought it. It was affecting my creativity. Time was, I would have created a Dream Vision sensation out of that scenario, a season of 20 episodes, with advertising revenue on top of the upvotes. Maybe, if I didn't get too bored, I'd have managed to squeeze out 2, maybe 3 seasons. I sipped the water, watching the replay on the screen. At all points of the story, I could have chosen a different option, could have taken it in a completely different direction. That character, that woman, what was her name? Pugnacia something? Where the hell did I get that name from? It was right. I should have just taken the fucking stairs. So why the fuck hadn't I? I walked over to the locker and it unlocked at my touch, the tingling announcing another 0.0001 steam deducted from my account, leaving a balance of 12.4431 steam. I ignored it. Everything costs steam these days. Everything you buy, consume, throw away. Fuck me. My morning dump cost me 0.0410 steam today. I dressed and quickly and left, ignoring the flash of the comments from the viewers. I would leave that little pleasure trip into misery later. I had a bottle of whiskey waiting for me in my apartment, a leaving present from him. My apartment. I was going to have to move. In 3 days' time, my monthly rent was due, 9 steam. If I wanted to eat, drink, or shit, I was going to have to take a smaller place. And, checking on the current market rate, it would have to be on the other side of the river. I promised myself when I got out of that hellhole I would never go back. Well, it wouldn't be the only promise I've broken recently. Even there, if I'd be lucky if I could afford a studio, travel costs would go up, of course. I needed to earn more steam, and fast. I walked past the line of shore wrecks, positioned just outside the building. Long gone were the days that I could afford to sit in one of those babies. Would you like a lift, sir? I looked down. An autoboard slid through the air beside me. Fuck off. Discounted rate, sir. Improved safety, sir. Surely you aren't going to walk, sir. I ignored it and moved away. Fucking bots. The world was run by them. Not technically, maybe. Not yet. But we've become too fucking reliant. I felt the tingle in my head, twice. One was from Autoboard Inc., wondering if I could spare a moment to participate in a survey. I spared a moment to throw it in the trash. The other was a notification from Dream Vision. Someone was trying to contact me. Probably a fan, or a former fan, telling me they were disappointed, or worse, that they liked it. I couldn't take any more pity. I ignored it. Tingle. Another message. The same account as before. This time it was voice. Who does voice anymore? I checked the signature. No one I knew. Without really knowing why, I accepted it. Mr. Cheese. It's Shees, I said, correcting a pronunciation automatically, even though it was a recording. The words left my mouth before I realised she was using my real name, not my dream name. We have to meet. I know it sounds a little melodramatic, darling, but it really is a matter of life and death. Call me. Then a pause. We have met. Sort of. My name's Pugnacious Arabesque. Hope you enjoyed that reading, and there'll be a new episode up if it's not up already, and if it is, I'll put a link at the end of this. It'll be up very soon. And keep reading, keep watching, and keep steaming.